These 10 mistakes that will slowly ruin your relationship. Measurably, the rate of separation and breakups is higher than the rate of effective and upbeat connections. These days, relational unions have lost their believability, and the more youthful ears tend to avoid confused techniques because of conceivable contradictions in feeling and lifestyle. For that object, we should investigate the 10 most normal mix-ups that can destroy a relationship, anticipating from your accomplice to change on account of you. One thing's without a doubt nobody's ideal, and when you anticipate from your accomplice to change as indicated by your yearnings, this can bring about issues. In particular, regardless of the possibility that the other individual guarantees to change on account of adoration, this doesn't imply that it would resemble you've envisioned it to. There is an awesome probability of different issues which can adversely influence your relationship. Along these lines, dependably acknowledge your accomplice the way he or she is, unless this is some genuine negative behavior pattern. Continually winning a contention people battle a considerable measure, keeping in mind the end goal to demonstrate their focuses. This is simply the conscience attempting to overwhelm. Be that as it may, it's obviously better to show your perspective and concocted an answer for take care of the issue. When you don't do this, you simply intensify the issue since it stays unsolved. Enabling a third individual to meddle a standout amongst the most widely recognized mix-ups that couples do is enabling a third individual to meddle in their relationship, regardless of whether this individual is a portion of the accomplice's relatives or companions. You can never know with assurance that this individual is developed enough to take care of your issue. Once in a while, they can even aggravate it. Just you and your accomplice ought to manage your relationship issues. Ignoring the passionate and physical needs of the accomplice. Comprehend that when you begin dismissing the necessities of your accomplice, he or she won't likewise want to fulfill your requirements, and they will presumably search for another person to satisfy them. This can without much of a stretch wreck your relationship. Holding hard feelings. Holding feelings of spite and concentrating on inconsequential things can intensify your relationship. When you begin to squabble, simply let the minute go, as holding resentment has never done any great to anybody. Disregarding contrasts. There are no two same people in the entire world, and contrasts are a piece of human instinct. Thus, it's critical to regard the contrasts amongst you and your accomplice so as to keep your relationship solid. Not tolerating deficiency. Most couples have a tendency to permit their inner selves overrule, and they restrict to tolerating issue. In any case, there's nothing incorrectly in saying too bad. Figure out how to acknowledge when you're in the wrong and offer your sincerest conciliatory sentiment, notwithstanding when the blame isn't generally yours. Never enable the sense of self to overrule your adoration. On the off chance that your accomplice truly adores you, they will likewise figure out how to acknowledge their blame. Absence of correspondence is vital for a fruitful relationship. Subsequently, When you don't address each other, you're offering favorable position to quiet and your relationship will endure. Contrasts in sentiment now and again. One accomplice might need to make a family as quickly as time permits, though the opposite side needs time to get ready for this sort of duty. Never hurry into anything and settle on choices together. This will influence the lives of both accomplices, and you ought to abstain from settling on sudden choices that you may lament later. You don't commit uninterrupted alone time. Your relationship ought to be your need, and it requires from you to devote time to each other. On the off chance that you need it to develop, you ought to add to your relationship every day.